Good evening, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing another video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know. I want to talk about something a little different than my usual videos. This one's going to be about graduating, not from school, but as an adult. In many times and ways people do this, and I don't think it's commonly understood or recognized or appreciated when it happens. So I want to talk a little bit about graduating as an adult. What do I mean by that? What do I mean graduating? I don't mean necessarily from a facility or an educational academic place, but I mean where people are sometimes, learning more often than not how to behave, how to function, and how to think, really. Learning how to think sounds funny, but we definitely do that, and it's a big deal. And there's a point where I think adults, most human adults, if they are capable and normal and intelligent, they'll reach a point where they've pretty much sorted everything out. And this is not commonly understood or recognized. This is the part I'm talking about. They reach a point where they're still learning, perhaps, and it's good to continue learning, I think, to be scholastic and inquisitive and to continue growing, because I'm not suggesting people should stop growing, but what they end up doing is they get stuff sorted out enough in their lives. They get things organized and problem-free to the point where their main problem becomes other people. So what I mean is it becomes a much bigger opportunity to help the people around these people who have graduated, these adults who have reached a point of success and organization in their life, where they're not plagued constantly by substance abuse problems, for example, or disorganization, or concerns of any kind. And their biggest problem becomes people who haven't gotten there yet. People who are creating chaos or blocking the road, or just being dumb, or being unsuccessful, unhappy. Maybe someone you care about, someone that you want to care about, but they haven't figured their stuff out yet. So it's just the opportunity in this video. My point is that people don't commonly recognize this turning point, but there absolutely is one. And many times at this point, an adult or person will become, say, a pastor or priest, or a preacher, or a teacher, or a therapist, or somebody with the legitimate qualifications to do a good job in elevating other people. And I'm not saying everybody in those jobs is good at it. And here's another angle to look at this idea from, where people take these jobs as advisors or counselors or healers, and many times it's just because they fell into it, or they thought it would be fun, and they're no good at it. I don't mean to be rude, but many therapists and healers and preachers are just really terrible at it. And it's the kind of people I was describing originally in this video who are good at it, and they solve all their own problems. They're healthy, they're organized, they're capable, and they are ready, perhaps for a second graduation. They're ready to move on even further and grow even more, but they can't because of opportunities, so to speak, in the system and with the people they're in. Understand? So, I mean, as a parallel, many of our systems, our policies, our laws, our limitations, our expectations and regulations are designed to address problems with behavior, and problems with people abusing things, people being confused, people just generally being incompetent and chaotic. And when there are so many barriers and boundaries and rules and regulations, it can seriously impinge on the freedom of people who aren't having a problem with any of that stuff, and who never would. I'm obviously referring to myself here. I'm not trying to toot my own horn or pat myself on the back, but I'm constantly feeling, as an aside, my personal feelings that aren't usually relevant in my videos, but I will share this one detail about myself. I frequently feel a little bit of frustration about how limiting and stagnant and what's the word I'm looking for? Stifling the atmosphere is. And it's a cyclic thing. I think this is a cyclic thing. The waxing and waning of liberty in general. People in general get more liberty, and then due to abuses and opportunities, like I've mentioned, it flies in the other direction because of a correction, right? So, like back in the 60s and 70s, there was the free love movement. There's a lot of, drug use and rejection of the establishment, rebellion. And as a result, in the 70s and 80s, there was a correction where the establishment tightened everything down, and now we're still dealing kind of with the fallout from that. You hear about boomers, you hear a lot of trash talk and negativity about boomers. Well, those were the hippies. If you don't understand who the boomers were, they were called boomers because they were baby boomers. They believed in free love, and they were dancing around naked and having tons of babies, and that's why you call them boomers. So I don't know, final point, just over 5.5 minutes. I think that trying to get to that point where an individual person, anybody, is themselves situated enough so that they can be happy is really the main, should be the concentration of their projects in life. If they can't get to that point, they have no business telling other people what to do until their own stuff is together. You know what I mean? They shouldn't be necessarily teaching or preaching or counseling or being a therapist until all of their own ducks are in a row, so to speak. Hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, reach out with questions or comments to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Have a happy, successful, and loving evening, and hope to see you in the next video. Thank you.